Okay, you're going to like this one, okay? We have just proven that opposite sides of a parallelogram are congruent. Now we have to prove that opposite angles are congruent. How hard is that going to be? Well, let's go ahead and make this segment again, this diagonal here. And let's remember the triangle theorem, right? I mean, basically, we know that, let me make my little marks with my pen here, this side is congruent to that side, and this side, notice I used 2 hashes there to show it's a different measurement, right? But it's not the same as that, but this one matches that, right? And guess what? You also have this right here, right? This side is equal to itself. So remember those 2 triangles that we just drew? You have this triangle here, which is CAD, and it matched triangle BDA, right? So then we know the corresponding parts now. We could just say, let's just do here, we know by side, my pen, we know by side that this side matches that side of this triangles, these 2 triangles here, and that this side matches that side, and then we also know that this side matches that side by the reflexive. So how is it that we know this? Because we just proved the theorem. Opposite sides of a parallelogram are congruent. So therefore CA is congruent to DB, and also CD is congruent to BA. And then finally by the reflexive, AD is congruent to itself. So this is a theorem we haven't used yet on this adventure, but it's called side-side-side congruency, triangle congruency theorem. So if there are 3 sides of any triangle that are congruent to 3 sides of any other triangle, and those 2 triangles must be congruent. And then of course we get to use CPCTC. So I will just kind of show it to you. Let me type this out real quick and we're almost done. Okay, because I'm going to, real quick after that, I will make the other diagonals and you'll see that it works the other way as well. But you really only have to just prove that these 2 angles are done, are congruent, because I'll accept that you could have drawn the diagonal the other way and used the exact same logic. You still would have proved that this angle DA here was congruent to angle D. We're going to prove that angle C is congruent to angle B, and that'll be enough for us, right? So let me get my text here. Where's my text? Insert text, okay? We're just going to put it here. And let me drag this down so I can see what I'm doing, okay? So I'm going to write that, let's see, AC is congruent to B, I better name it correctly, DB. Okay, so I'm starting at this point going up, so I need to start at the corresponding point and come down. So they are congruent to each other, and let's see, let's go DC. DC is congruent to, all right, we're on DC, so we'll go AB, right? AB, and those are all done by the opposite angles of a parallelogram are congruent. Not opposite angles, sorry. Opposite sides. Alright? Opposite sides of a parallelogram are congruent. So that's our first statement. We're saying that this side and this side, that side and that side. So next statement is, right, that AD is congruent to we can call DA, which is the same thing, and by the reflexive property of congruency, right? Not equality, because we're not saying they're equal, even though in this case they are equal, really is the same exact points, but we're going to say the reflexive property of congruency. And then so triangle, we'll go triangle ACD is congruent to triangle DBA by side, 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 and then finally that means angle, I'm just going to call it angle C, and I can do that pretty much because there are no confusion. There shouldn't be any confusion that this is the angle I'm talking about. But I can say angle C is congruent to angle D, right? Oh no, B. Sorry, B. Okay, B is the one down here. So C is angle C is congruent to angle B. And how do we know that? By CPCTC, right? Corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent. So that's the logic right there. That's really all we need. I'm gonna let's see if I can, maybe I can move this a little bit. Oh, I don't want to do that. We'll just leave that there. That's fine. But I maybe move. Oops. Sorry. We'll just come and move the text box someplace where it's a little bit clearer. And I don't really know if I've got it here. Nope. Yeah, it's just going to have to stay. So hopefully you followed along, or you can rewind it. But this is really the proof. That's all there is to it. Okay? Don't forget, make a good move note of it. And isn't it a good thing we prove the opposite sides are congruent, because it really makes it easy to prove that opposite angles are congruent. Okay.